Welcome. Yes, my friends. This is the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast, and I'm your host, Reverend Bruce, and welcome to the podcast, and welcome to 2017. I'm going to consider this Season 3's Episode 1, since I've been on the air, or I've been on the podcast anyway, for 3 years, and I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I certainly did. Mrs. Recluse and my 3 cats gave me some awesome presents for Christmas. The cats gave me underwear and socks, which apparently I needed. Thank you to the cats for that. Anyway, but I had a great holiday season, and I really hope you guys out there did as well. And let's get right to it. This record that I picked up in Calgary 2 weeks ago, just about 2 weeks ago, with my yearly vinyl hunting, freak out, apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, in Calgary, hitting all the stores and hitting all the flea markets. I went down there with my lovely wife, Mrs. Recluse. We stayed for the weekend, and it was a very fruitful weekend for vinyl hunting. I picked this record up, wanted to play to you. It was one of those records that immediately jumped out at me. I think it's of its time, and then you'll see what I mean. This gentleman, Wynne Hanson, is originally from Calgary, or actually is known in Calgary rather than in Edmonton. He had a show in the late 60s, I believe, in Calgary called Wynne's Pad, which was a general kids variety, all-around kind of show like that. But you know, he was also a nightclub musician as well. That's what he did at night. And this record that I'm going to play is called Road Musician. I don't have a year for this. I'm going to hit the sweet spot again and say about 1977. This is a great record to get an idea of what a nightclub musician or a cabaret musician was playing in his sets in 1977, 1978. It gives a great overview of that. I'll take a nice shot of the back cover so you can get an idea of exactly what he played for the entire album. I'm obviously going to play some select cuts, and I'm going to start it off playing a Wynne Hanson original. That is the title track of this album, called Road Musician. Now Wynne has a very sturdy kind of a voice to him, very low register. He hits the notes. He's got a little bit of a vibrato to him, and a little bit of a tenor to him, or not a tenor, but a treble, I guess I would say, to him also. He's got a very good baritone voice. So yeah, without further ado, let's hit it off with the title track of Wynne Hanson's Road Musician, called Road Musician, here on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
Sunday morning, I wake up to the whine of a noisy vacuum in the hallway. Just time for coffee. There's near 1,000 miles between today and Monday evening. I gotta get my amps off from the bar, clean the beer stains off my old guitar, load the whole damn issue in the car, then stop and check the oil. Hey there, Lightfoot. Every night I sing your songs, Christopherson and Dylan. Marty Robbins, Bride and Haggard country tunes that sold over 1 million. From Vancouver up to Thunder Bay, Toronto down to San Jose, I pick my songs, collect my pay, and envy you your fame. I'm a road musician, I make a living with my sounds, always wishing, waiting for the break that can't be found. So long, Kathy. I'll love you like I've never loved so many girls before you. You knew the story. You didn't try to hold me when you knew the gig was over. Now your picture goes down in my file, and I'll look at it once in a while, and I'll remember, and I'll smile and feel a little sad. I'm a road musician, I make a living with my sounds, always wishing, waiting for the break that can't be found. I wonder if a road musician ever settles down.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Wynne Hanson with the title track from his LP called Road Musician. I'm going to do the lighter notes to give you a little bit more of an idea of who Wynne is. And this is from his executive producer, J.T. Josvanger. I hope I got that right. It says, if you and I have anything in common, it may be that when we hear an exceptional singer, our first impulse is to purchase an album so that we may enjoy him at will. Too often, that album doesn't exist, as was the case when I first heard Wynne Hanson in Hawaii of January 1975. It took one long year, one damn good producer, and over a dozen top musicians, not to mention sweat, talent, money, and faith. Wynne Hanson, road musician, exists. From J.T. Josvanger, or oh, I'm going to get so in trouble with this. J.T. Josvanger, executive producer. So yeah, there it is, a little bit more about Wynne. This was produced and recorded at Damon Sound Studios here in Edmonton, Alberta by Jerry McDonald, sorry about that, Jerry. He also engineered it. Song and bass or brass arrangement by Wallace Petrick. And the musicians on acoustic and electric guitar, Maurice Marshall, acoustic and steel guitar, Gary Collinger, piano, Al Wilson, bass, Jerry Rao, and drums, Stu Mitchell. So this is this is a great overview of what I would imagine a Wynne Hanson set at a cabaret or a nightclub would sound like. So, but again, without further ado, let's get on to the next song. This is a song I love when I first heard it. It's called Dirty Old Man by Bob Razuka. And it's got a direct cross between the Red Sovine, great recitation songs of the early 70s, Giddy Up Go and Phantom 309, where he talked his way through the song with that indelible voice of his, and Porter Wagner, who is a huge, huge favorite of mine, who also did those types of songs in the late 60s. If you ever listen to Porter's stuff, especially in that time frame, he had some great songs like this, and this is clearly in the vein of this, a great representation. So this is Wynne Hanson from the album Road Musician with a song by Bob Razuka called Dirty Old Man, here on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
And an old man stood on the corner, and he watched some young folk pass his way. And their smiling, youthful faces prompted that old man to say, well, how you doing, kids? You looking good. Sure is a mighty fine day. They just stood and stared and looked him up and down, and then they went on their way. Well, he shrugged his shoulders and he ran his hand through his hair so gray. And as those young kids walked off down the street, they heard that old man say, well, these old eyes seen 80 summers. Some were winners and some were bummers, but I love them all. Yep, I love them all. Once I was young and full of fun like you. I had a billion dreams and some came true. You can't win them all. No, you can't win them all. Now I'm old and tired and bent and busted, gray and wrinkled, I can't be trusted, just a dirty old man. That's all you think I am. When I look back on my younger years, I shared your hopes and I shared your fears. Yeah, I made that scene. Yeah, I made that scene. My parents never understood. I never thought that they ever would. You know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now I'm old and tired and bent and busted, gray and wrinkled, I can't be trusted, just a dirty old man. Just a dirty old man. I did some living in this life of mine, laughed and loved in the summertime. Well, I remember it well. Yeah, I remember it well. There was lips to kiss and hands to hold. I never thought that I'd get very old, but here I am, just a dirty old man. Now I'm old and tired and bent and busted, gray and wrinkled, I can't be trusted, just a dirty old man. Just a dirty old man. But you just wait 50 years or so, you'll be standing on the corner with no place to go, just looking around. You'll just be looking around. And if some young folk pass you by, don't stop and say hello, don't even say hi. They'll just put you down. Lord, they'll just put you down. 'Cause you'll be old, tired, and bent, and busted, gray and wrinkled, you can't be trusted, just a dirty old man. Just a dirty old man. Just a dirty old man.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Wynne Hanson with a song called Dirty Old Man off his album Road Musician. And you know, in records like this, I won't say there's Canadian content because obviously it's a Canadian record, but you will often see in records like this from this time frame, which again would be about 1977, some Canadian songwriters on here, well-known ones, whether it be Anne Murray, whether it be Gordon Lightfoot, whether it be this particular gentleman, Murray McLaughlin, and it's kind of like a prerequisite, you know, you have to put them on here, so the can content, I guess, but yeah, Wynne Hanson is no different during his sets. I'm sure he featured a whole bunch of Canadian artists. This one I'm going to play for you again is from Murray McLaughlin with a song called, this is one of my favorite Murray McLaughlin songs too. This is a song called Farmer's Song. Again, Wynne gives it a very nice treatment. It's, again, very much of its time, very much of 1977, 1978. It's a great artifact. And, I love listening to stuff like this. Again, it is a great artifact, and it's great history too, and great entertainment. So without further ado, yes, this is Wynne Hanson from the album Road Musician with a Murray McLaughlin song called Farmer's Song here on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
Farmer, out working your field, hanging down over your tractor wheel. The sun beating down turned your red paint to orange and rusty old patches of steel. Well, there's no farmer's song on that car radio, just cowboy, truck driver, and pain. Well, this is my way to say thanks for the meal, and I hope there's no shortage of rain. Straw hat and old dirty hankies, bopping a face like a shoe. Thanks for the meal, here's a song that is real, from a kid from the city to you. Straw hat and old dirty hankies, mop in a face like a shoe. Thanks for the meal, here's a song that is real, from a kid from the city to you. Gang up, taking most of the bread. Things just ain't what they used to be. Well, your kids are out after the American dream, and they're working in pig factories. If I should drive by when you're out in the field, and I wave at you just like a friend. These days when everyone's taking so much, there's somebody giving back in. Straw hat and old dirty hankies, mop in a face like a shoe. Thanks for the meal, here's a song that is real, from a kid from the city to you. Straw hat and old dirty hankies, mop in a face like a shoe. Thanks for the meal, here's a song that is real, from a kid from the city to you.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Wynne Hanson with a Murray McLaughlin classic called Farmer's Song from his album Road Musician. And it's very much of its time. I'll take a picture of the back cover as always, and the set list, or as it was recorded by the album anyway. It's very much of its time. It has its ebbs and its flows as far as pacing is concerned. And the last song I'm going to play for you is the last song on the album. And boy, this was one of those songs that everybody sang if you had a nightclub act or a cabaret act. It's kind of the trinity. This song that I'm going to play, Feelings and MacArthur Park, I think, were the three ones that were you would see over and over again on these types of albums. And the song that I'm going to play is a Frank Sinatra classic written by Paul Anka, My Way, and then Wynne gives it the treatment. So without further ado, let's listen to Wynne Hanson from the album Road Musician with his version of My Way here on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
And now the end is near, and now I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, but more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step all along the byway, but more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find it all highly amusing to think I did all that, and might I add, in not a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to do the things he really feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The records show I took the blows and did it my way.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Wynne Hanson with that tour de force written by Paul Anka, a song called My Way. It's the fitting ending to the album. Again, this is a great snapshot of what you would have heard from Wynne, obviously, but any kind of cabaret musician or cabaret performer or nightclub band performer. And again, about 1977, 1978. I'll take a picture again of the back cover so you can get the entire set list off the LP. It's a great snapshot, and I hope you enjoyed that. One of the things I wanted to do before I sign off for this particular podcast, one of the things I love when I pick these records up are the autographs that are frequently on the front or the back cover that were written by the performers to whoever he was giving or she was giving the album or 45 to, whether they bought it or it was a gift, whatever it was. And this one is no different. They always seem to tell a little bit of a story that you want to hear more about. This one is a great one. So with that, I'll read it for you. And again, I'm going to take a picture of the back cover so you can see a little bit clearer and put that on the podcast post page. So yeah, here it is. To Debbie, with fond memories of many wonderful nights. Wynne, with the universal XX, which is the sign of kissing, I guess. Yeah, it's kissing, isn't it? Or fondness, I guess. But yeah, I love autographs like that. They always seem to tell a story that you want to hear more about, and this one was no different. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's a fitting first season or first episode of the third season, and there will be many more, I promise you. So what am I going to do before I sign off here? I have to say yes. I'll start with the subscribing things. I am on iTunes. You can subscribe to me on iTunes. I am on TuneIn. You can subscribe to me on TuneIn. I am now on Google Play Music. You can subscribe to me on Google Play Music or listen to me on Google Play Music. I am on Podomatic, which is where I started off with. You can subscribe to me there. Download all my stuff there. Download my stuff and all the other platforms as well. Next month in February, by the time you listen to the next podcast, which would be the last week in February, there is a very good chance I will be a guest on the 68 Comeback Special on CJSR on every Thursday afternoon. My favorite show in Edmonton, hosted by Craig Elliott and Tom Murray. They have a very excellent palette of all types of music on this show. That's why I'm a very, very, very big fan of the show itself. And I've hypnotized them, apparently, to let me come on the show and play some of my favorite songs, whether they be vintage Edmonton stuff or just my favorite stuff. I'm going to talk about Cleveland music too. I can't not go on without doing that. I will give you my thoughts on Pere Ubu, which everybody seems to always want to ask me about. So I'm going to lay it out for you, and it is as efficient and as concise manner as I can, and hopefully not bore anybody in the podcast. So yeah, listen to that. It should be coming up, and I will put it on Vintage Edmonton if I'm going to be on that particular day, and let everybody have a heads up, or catch me on my Twitter page also. I'm sure I'll be updating it there as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This should be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's the end of the show, folks. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.